08, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done when you're in need and don't know where to go. Pick up the phone and call mom.
All right, so welcome to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom, and today we are talking about the Fed. So the Fed had their meeting today. I talked last week on my show that we would be, discussing what did they say, that analysts felt that they were going to keep rates higher for longer, which is exactly what they did today. So I do want to give a chance for my text message to go out. Which it doesn't look like it's gone out yet, so it will here in a second. But I want to give everybody the chance to get on so that you are here, you are with me, and you are part of the show. This is the first time that I am trying to actually stream to TikTok. Whether or not I am live on TikTok, I have no idea. So I truly do hope that you guys can see me, that I am live. I'm doing this through Streamlabs. So I should be able to see in the chat if you are there, if you are making comments. If I don't respond to you, it is because I have obviously set something up wrong. But I do this show every single week on Wednesday, typically at 1 p.m. Because there was the Federal Reserve meeting today, they make their announcements, then they do their press conference. I wanted to be able to watch the entire thing before I actually did a show. I wanted to make sure that I could bring you the information that I heard, that I observed, and what my take is on it that they are talking about. So I'm going to give everybody just a couple more minutes to jump on, and then we're going to get started. This is an interactive show, so if you have questions, please feel free to put those questions into the feed. Let me know that you're here. Give me a big hi or a thumbs up. So I'm going to run a super quick commercial for my son. He's got his website, River Moms, which is rvrmoms.com. And it's just a fun little apparel, t-shirts and baseball caps and such. So stay tuned. We'll be right back, and we're going to jump right into the Federal Reserve.
Oh, is it time to go for a ride? Hold, please. Let me grab a few road sodies to go. Our newest collection, Road Sodies, is a tribute to all of those die-hard passengers enjoying the dunes and mud while the captain does all the work. We have tees, hoodies, and hats to help you show off your style. This design just launched. Be the first to grab yours today and show up to your next adventure in style. rvrmoms.com.
Okay, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux, and today we are going to talk about the Federal Reserve meeting. So I did pull up some information, and I'm going to read it to you because I like to do that. I like for you guys to hear exactly what was said and what was read out loud. So I'm going to read those to you, and I want you guys to hear it, and then we'll talk about it. So this is where we're going to start on this one. So here we go. So Chair Powell, good afternoon, my colleagues, and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. Despite heightened uncertainty, the economy is still in solid position. The unemployment rate remains low, and the labor market is at or near maximum employment. Inflation has come down a great deal, but has been running somewhat above our 2% longer run objective. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave policy interest rate unchanged. So higher for longer. Here we go, guys. The risks of higher unemployment and higher inflation appear to have risen, and we believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments. So I do want to kind of break that down a little bit for you guys to explain exactly what he's saying. So basically, he believes that because our labor market and our unemployment market, our jobs and unemployment are strong, and that the consumer spending has also been strong, that he feels that they are in a position with the concern of inflation possibly going higher, that they could keep these rates higher for longer. So that's in essence what I took of what he said. Following growth of 2.5% last year, GDP was reported to have edged down in the first quarter, reflecting swings in net exports that were likely driven by businesses bringing in imports ahead of potential tariffs. This unusual swing complicated GDP measurement last quarter. Private domestic final purchases, or PDFP, which excludes net exports, inventory, investment, and government spending, grew at a solid 3% rate in the first quarter, the same as last year's pace. So what they're saying is that before those tariffs went into place, that many of the businesses here in the United States brought in a whole bunch of inventory that they needed in anticipation of the tariffs increasing the cost for them. So the GDP numbers that came out last week that were horrible, what Federal Powell is saying, Chairman Powell is saying, is that that's because of people buying in advance, which is not something that they typically do. Within PDFP, growth of consumer spending moderated while investment in equipment and intangibles rebounded from weakness in the fourth quarter. Surveys of households and businesses, however, report a sharp decline in sentiment and elevated uncertainty about the economic outlook, largely reflecting trade policy concerns. It remains to be seen how these developments might affect future spending and investment. So I think he's, kind of given a little bit of a jab there towards, the idea of the tariffs, those going into place. And he's saying that the household surveys are basically uncertain about the economic outlook coming in the future. They've got some concern, and it's because of that reason. So he's blaming that for why there's economic uncertainty. Now, this is not a political show, so we're not going to get into who feels what is best. I'm just reading to you his statement, and we're talking about what he's saying and how I am interpreting his words. In the labor market, conditions have remained solid. Payroll job gains averaged 155,000 per month over the past 3 months. The unemployment rate at 4.2% remains low and has stayed in a narrow range for the past year. Wage growth has continued to moderate while still outpacing inflation. So he's saying that the income levels, all of the people getting their raises is slowing down. So the growth rate of the income is slowing down, and that it is but it is still outpacing the inflation. So basically, you're still making more money than what things are costing you. Do we believe this? I don't know. Just reading it to you, and I'm explaining what he's saying. Overall, a wide set of indicators suggest that conditions in the labor market are broadly in balance and consistent with maximum employment. The labor market is not a source of significant inflationary pressures. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% long-run goal. Total PCE prices rose 2.3% over the last 12 months ending in March, excluding the volatile food and energy categories. Businesses and professional forecasters point to tariffs as a driving factor. So again, he's going to say that, we're looking at inflation has come down. It's come down actually quite a bit, but that the prices rose 2.6% instead of the 2.3% over the last 12 months. And he's charging that to the tariffs. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. So beyond the next year or so. So how much longer are we in this, guys, for this higher for longer and keeping these, monetary policies in place? Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5% and to continue reducing the size of our balance sheet. Well, that's kind of strange because 6 weeks ago at the last meeting, they actually said that they were going to slow down the reduction of the balance sheet. So just to give you guys my 2 cents, that's kind of strange. The tariff increases announced so far have been significantly larger than anticipated. All of those policies are still evolving, however, and their effects on the economy remain highly uncertain. As economic conditions evolve, we will continue to determine the appropriate stance of monetary policy based on the incoming data, the outlook, and the balance of risks. So basically what he's saying is we don't know what's going to happen with these tariffs. We don't know how long that it's going to take. We don't until we can see what they're doing or how they're making changes to our economics. And so for that reason, we're going to wait, watch, and see. If the large increases in tariffs that have been announced are sustained, okay, here we go. They are likely to generate a rise in inflation, a slowdown in economic growth, and an increase in unemployment. The effects of inflation could be short-lived, okay, reflecting one-time shift in the price level. It is also possible that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the tariff effects and how long it takes for them to pass through fully into prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to prevent one-time increase in the price level from becoming an ongoing inflation problem. As we act to meet that obligation, we will balance our maximum employment and price stability mandates, keeping in mind that without price stability, we cannot achieve the long periods of stronger labor market conditions that benefit all Americans. We may find ourselves in the challenging scenario in which our dual mandate goals are in tension. If that were to occur, we would consider how far the economy is from each goal and the potentially different time horizons over which those respective gaps would be anticipated to close. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. At this meeting, the committee continued its discussion as part of our 5-year review of our monetary policy framework. We focused on inflation dynamics and the implications for our monetary policy strategy. Our review includes outreach and public events involving a wide range of parties, including Fed Listens events around the country and research conference next week. Throughout this process, we are open to a new idea and critical feedback, and we will take on board lessons of the last 5 years in determining our findings. We intend to wrap up the review by late this summer. The Fed has been assigned 2 goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success is delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions. So that was actually what he said when he started his press conference. So what do you guys take of that? So I would love to see you join in, jump in. I can see Annette jumped on and she said, Happy Wednesday. So happy Wednesday, Annette. I had actually seen a comment come in from, it said me, but that was right as I was getting started to read, and I can't have the page up on my screen while I'm also trying to to see what is, what I'm reading. So I could not see that, but it looks like, oh, that was Mary Elton. So Mary said hi. So I just want to say hi back. And again, this is an open conversation. So what did we get from that I just read from you? And what is our take on it? So number one, interest rates are staying the same. They're not dropping the Federal Reserve prime rate. So that is there. As of last week, so things can change very quickly, and you guys should know that, I'm sure, from having followed me and watched my show. Last week, there was this on Wednesday, last week, so 7 days ago, there was a 60% chance, which is what analysts were saying, that we would see a rate cut in June. So at the next meeting in 6 weeks, that we would see our first rate cut of 2025. After the meeting today and after the press conference, that number has flipped from 60% believing that we were going to have a rate cut come June to 70% saying there is no chance in hell. We are not getting a rate cut in June. It's going to be further out than that. From watching the press conference myself, from reading the statement that he made, I truly actually agree. And I hate to say that. I would love to see them cut rates come June, but I do not think that that is going to happen. I do believe that we are not going to see rates cut until after that. I think that they are going to hold these higher for longer, for as long as the unemployment and the jobs market remains strong, for as long as the consumer spending remains strong. So you guys have heard me talk about that before, that we need to cut back our spending. We need to stop buying things that we don't need. We need to stop going on vacations that we can't afford. We need to stop using our credit cards to, pay for things that maybe aren't necessarily an item that is necessary or needed, right? I can totally understand needing to go to your credit cards when things are tight and that's your only option to buy your food or pay for your gas. But if you're buying things that you don't actually need, they are not a necessity, then that you are only helping to fuel the fire of these interest rates staying higher for longer. So we need to get consumer spending down. We need them to see that people are not spending. They are going to wait for those three items. And then also they are going to look at GDP, which he had a very clear explanation about. So GDP did come in very not great at all. He is blaming the tariffs. He is blaming that businesses unusually purchase inventory in advance of those tariffs going into place, trying to save themselves, from having to pay the higher prices later. Did that actually happen? All that we can do is we can watch and wait and see. So does GDP come in lower, by the next meeting, at the next readings that we get? There's so much there that is happening, but it sounds, the way that they are making it sound is that we are strong and that they don't have to change anything. So how did the market react, right? So that was one of the things that we talked about. And I do want to say hi to Why Not. I could see he jumped on and he said hi. So Why Not? Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining. Let's talk about how did the market react today. So I said in my show last week, which did absolutely play out the way that I expected, that if they left the rate unchanged, they did not lower the rate, that we were most likely going to see our rate sheets get a bit better. So the bond market is liking that. They stayed where they are. They're liking the news that was reported. So the bond market's reacting positively. So we are going to have just a slightly better interest rate sheet tomorrow, from what I see, or at least what I saw at 2 p.m. today Pacific time before I jumped on and did this live with you guys. So it does appear that our interest rates are going to get slightly better tomorrow. The 10-year Treasury, which we also like to follow very closely, I like to watch that obviously on a daily and sometimes hourly basis, that has also started to come back down again. So we had gotten below subpar about 4 weeks ago when we had our really good drop in rates, best rate sheets we've had of 2025, and we actually dropped below 4. But 420 has kind of been our sticking point. That's been one of our kind of key levels that we're going to, it's been a resistance level. That 420's been a resistance level. That 10-year treasury has dropped below it but bounced right back up above it. We have another resistance level in the high, and that the high of that's about 440 to 450. So right now, we actually got below 4 about a month ago. We climbed back up. We actually dropped back down, but we've been hovering between about 430, 440 and about 415. And actually, as of yesterday, we were at 434. And as of, again, 2 p.m. today, so 35 minutes ago, the last time I checked the market, we were at about 414, I believe is what I saw. So that is also coming down, which is going to help our rate sheets. Now, will this cycle continue? Will we get a couple of 2, 3, 4 days of, improving prices? What's really going to matter? That's a question that I cannot answer. I did think that if they kept the rates the same, which is what was expected, that we would see an initial change today, which is what we're seeing. But will this continue? Will we continue to see these rates continue to improve? That is actually really hard to say, because at this point in time, the conference really just ended, and now the news is going to start digging in to everything that was said, every question that was asked by every reporter, and how, Chairman Powell, how he actually responded, what did he say, and then what do they take of it. So if you are really interested in this, if this is something that you really like to know about, you want to know more about, start watching a bunch of the financial news and start listening and reading the articles that come out. Try your very, very best to find articles that are being published by like money magazines, where they don't necessarily have a political stance on one side or the other. You really want to try to get your data and get your information that you're reading and that you're learning from neutral parties. So definitely do that. I try to. Those are the those are the articles and the outlets that I like to try to follow, that I like to try to watch and learn, because I don't want there to be a political statement behind it. I don't want one side leaning left or right and clouding the interpretation of what was actually said. So it looks like, here we go, we're going to be higher for longer. That's okay. We expected that. Hoping for a rate cut in June. Looks to be off the table, which we were hoping for, but that is not what came out of that press conference that I witnessed. However, there are a lot of things that can change that. So from one 6-week period to the next, things can change very rapidly. So we have to keep our eyes on unemployment, the unemployment reports, the consumer spending reports, the PCE. So we want to make sure that we're watching those inflation reports, the GDP. We want to keep our eyes and ears open to all of that, because that is what's going to give us our preview to what will happen next June. At the June meeting, not next June, at the June meeting. So I hope that I helped you guys. I don't see any questions coming in at all. I went to my YouTube comments. I'm in multi-stream, so I don't see any Facebook comments. I don't see anything on TikTok, so I'm not exactly sure if I'm even streaming. I might be thinking I'm streaming to them, and I'm not. So I will play with my equipment, make sure that I've got it all ready to go again for next week. But just remember, you guys, I am here every Wednesday, 1 p.m., bringing you guys information, trying to help you understand the market. I want you to ask me your questions. This is a very interactive show. I'm always happy to answer them for you. And every week it is a new topic. So how do you know that I went live so that you do not miss a show? You text the word live, LIVE, to 844-935-3634. That's 844-WE-LEND-FOR-YOU. WELEND and the number 4. So number 1, text the word live to that number. You can also text phone app. It's 2 words, phone, PHONE, and then app, APP, 2 words. So phone app. If you text the same phone number, you will get my tools app, which will let you watch my YouTubes. It will let you email me. It will let you fill out a loan application. It will let you run mortgage payments with principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and mortgage insurance. FHA, conventional, USDA. So there's lots of options in this tools app. Definitely get it. Text phone app to 844-935-3634. I can see Mary got on and says, do you think they are waiting until we crash to lower the rates? Mary, I love you for that. Yeah, I think that in my opinion, and this is my opinion, and I'm not going to get political like on either side of the spectrum of who's right, but this is my opinion, neutral party looking in. I think that Powell and Trump have a real issue with each other. And that's what I'm seeing as an outsider looking in. Not looking at either side, who's right, who's wrong. I'm looking at the neutral party side of this. I think that Powell thought tariffs were coming and that they could be a good idea, and then Trump went big on tariffs, much larger than he ever anticipated. I think that threw a wrench into Powell's ideas because now he is scared that there's going to be some massive some massive change come from these tariffs. It's going to crash. It could possibly crash our economy. It could bring inflation through the roof because the price of goods gets so much more expensive. I think that if there was no tariff at all, so throw tariffs to the side and pretend like they never existed. I think that if there had never been an introduction of tariffs, period, where we are today with where our inflation readings are today, I think we would have gotten another rate cut. But because of the tariffs, I think he's holding stable, and he's holding steady, and he is being very stubborn. I think he's being very stubborn. I don't know. Are they waiting for us to crash? I think that if they wait too long, they're certainly going to head us down that path. So hopefully they don't. I can see, okay, and then I can see on Facebook we're getting some comments that are not so nice. Somebody wants me to be their mom, their stepmom. So we're gonna leave that alone. We're not gonna read that comment. But Mary says I agree completely. So I just think that there's some stubbornness that's going on there. Trump has gone to Powell and said, you need to lower these, you need to lower these interest rates. It's time. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And Powell is just unwilling to do that. So I think that there's more of an argument and a distaste between the two of them. I think neither one of them like each other. And I think that they are purposely holding, I think that Powell believes that the economy is strong enough that he can give Trump the finger. Is the easiest way to put it. And I think that what Trump is trying to do is trying to ease the economy because that is what he has promised the American people. So I think that there's, if he holds on for too long, if Powell does hold on for too long, because you guys remember, a lot of these reports that we get, they get revised. They're not, when we get them, they might look great. Unemployment might look awesome. Everything might look great. And then all of a sudden things get revised. And when they get revised, we're not as in good of shape as what we thought that we were. And so the fact that we are, in my opinion, when I see these reports that are coming out, we are teetering on low unemployment, and we are really teetering on job growth. And we are slowing down on income growth. So, the income that's being offered for the same job, that growth is slowing down pretty significantly, pretty quick. And so I just feel like if things get revised and he holds out too long, yeah, Mary, you're right. He could totally crash us. I could be totally wrong. I'm not a financial analyst. I am not an expert by any means. I am a mortgage lender that has been doing this for over 30 years. I have watched the market for over 30 years on a daily basis. I can tell you exactly where 10-year treasuries are. I can tell you exactly where bonds are. It is something that, I have done for 30 years, and I have watched it, and I have lived through recessions. I have worked through recessions. I've done mortgage through recessions. I've done real estate through recessions. So, you know, I'm giving you guys what I believe. Anyway, I'm happy that you agree with me, Mary. And I don't see any other questions. So if anybody else has a question that they would like to ask that is pertaining to the show, Ridwan, you are very sweet. I love your comments, but I'm not going to read them out loud. If you have a question about the Federal Reserve, interest rates, what happened to mortgage rates, do you have any mortgage or real estate questions, feel free to go ahead and throw those into the chat and I will read them out loud and answer them for you. But I do not see anything else coming in. So I will be back here again next Wednesday. Go to my website, opt in so you know when I go live. Go to mortgagemomradio.com. If you guys want to get an appointment with me, you can click the appointment button and make it right there. If you want to talk to me, you guys can call the same phone number that you would text live or phone app to. You can call 844-935-3634. That is my office number, and you guys are more than welcome to call me. And I believe that's it. So once again, I will see you guys next Wednesday, 1 p.m. right here on YouTube, Facebook, and hopefully TikTok. I'm pretty sure I'm live, but I don't see anything, and I don't know how to confirm while I'm live. So hopefully next week we'll get it down. We'll talk to you guys all real soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida L076508, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done when you're in need and don't know where to go. Pick up the phone and call mom.